Welcome to Penelope's Playground. This is a mini quilt series designed to showcase the Stripology rulers and help you learn how to use them to their most potential. This has been a 4-block series, so far we have gotten all of our blocks done. This video is designed to show you how to put all those blocks together and add our applique kitties. If you have been following along, then you have already seen those 4 blocks. If you have missed them, no worries. There is still time to catch every single video. In those videos, you'll learn how to use your Stripology rulers step by step. These patterns are free while the series has been going on, but I'm keeping it open for a bit longer because I'm going to do an extra video showing you how I'm going to quilt this beautiful quilt. Are you ready to put this gorgeous quilt together? Well, let's get started. The first step in putting this whole little quilt together is to get our center square. That's using fabric 4, and we're going to be doing a 4.5-inch square. I'm just going to use my mini to cut this out. Now we are ready to start laying this out. With this quilt, I like to put the center together before I add on the other parts. That way I can get my applique done in the center that's, kind of got the tail coming out there. So I want to start by working out from the center. The center is made up of our A and B squares. I'm going to start with the B. And I'm going to go ahead and line those up where they need to be. And then our A squares are going to go just like this, although we're going to be swapped up there at the corners. So this one's going to have our corners going in toward that center, just like that. And so I'm going to treat this as a 9 patch and go ahead and get this done so that I can then work on my applique in the center. So I am going to use this as a 9 patch and simply stitch these together. I'm going to come in and finish my rows, and then I will stitch my rows together. Now that my rows are together, I pressed the seams on the outside out, and I pressed my seams on the inside in, and therefore these seams right here are going to nest very nicely in the center. But I wanted to show you before I go, and I will definitely do some pinning here on those nested seams just to make sure. And by nested, remember, I want one seam going one way and one seam going the other so that I line up that right there. And then I wanted to show you when I was putting my A's together with my other blocks, my B blocks, I was able to flip my A block so that I could get a nested seam here as well. And so move those blocks around so that you can make sure that you're nesting as many seams as possible. And so now I will take these, I will go ahead and pin this together, and then I'll pin the bottom one together as well, and that way I can stitch all at the same time. In my original quilt, I had designed my center to be a silhouette, and so I did black. I used a minky, so I used some minky scraps. I don't need much. I'm going to show you that in just a second. I encourage you to play with other types of fabrics when you're doing these little mini projects. I have my center 9 patch, and then I've brought in my border fabric, and then I've placed some of the blocks where they're going to be going. And then what I'm going to do is I am test driving because my son said that he wants a gray cat, and so I am going to bring out the different fabrics, and then what I do is I lay them on here. I put them in different places because the kitty cats are going to be in different places, and I take pictures of each one, and that way I can see how they look from a distance. So I am going to use minky again. I have a black minky, I have a white minky, I have some gray here that I could use, and I also have some brown. And so I'm going to go through, I'm going to take pictures and see which one I like best. I am going to go ahead and cut out all of my appliques. I won't do them right away, but I definitely need her. So I like to bring out all my scraps and get as many things into my scraps as possible. And so I am going to go ahead, everything is reversed, so I can go ahead and trace everything onto my fusible. This is a double fusible. That means that when I iron it, it is going to stick to the back of my fabric. And this is the time when if you want to make some changes to the pattern, you are welcome to do it. I am going to use some minky scraps that I have left over from another project. I want to make sure that my nap is going in the right direction. And so I do a test right there, and you can see the different nap right there. And so I know now that this is pointing down, and I'm going to go ahead and put that just like that. This is all I'm going to need for this project. I like to caution you about using Minky is that Minky doesn't like heat, but we have to iron our piece down onto the back of it. And so my recommendation is that you use a cover cloth. Because I'm using Minky, I want to be very careful with my heat. So I have placed my design on the back side of my Minky, and I'm going to use a cover cloth. So I'm going to use that cover cloth, and now I'm going to place my iron right on top, and I am letting the heat do the job and the weight of the iron do the job. I don't want to press too hard, and then I'm being very careful. I only want to put as much heat on there as I need to, so I'm just going to check. She's not doing anything quite yet. Once she sticks, she'll be stuck, and I won't have to worry about her coming loose. All right, so now that she has been glued on there, I'm gonna let this piece cool before I cut it out. Minky can certainly be a mess when you cut it out, so I have my trash can sitting here nearby, but the glue from the paper helps that out. And so you notice that I have a raw edge, and now I'm going to cut directly on that line. And there she is, ready to go on the quilt. So like I said, since I am doing her in the center, I am going to leave off the sides and stuff before and go ahead and applique her on. This is a double fusible, so now I can just take the sticker off. I want to make sure that I'm shiny on the back here, and then I can place my applique wherever I feel like it's going to look best. Once I get it into the place where I would like for it to stay, I am going to take that cover cloth and place that back on there because I do not want her to get too hot. I want her to remain nice and soft. And so I go ahead and get my heat going. And then I'm going to switch over to the back of the quilt because I want to get to the glue side of her. So she's not going to be exactly stuck quite completely yet. I'm going to go ahead and flip her and use my cover cloth and then give it just a little bit more heat. That way I can make sure she's on as good as I can get her. And now I'm going to take her over to the sewing machine, and she is going to get a nice blanket stitch around her. You could use a zigzag, you could use a straight stitch, whatever you feel most comfortable with. I love the blanket stitch and feel like it gives me a little bit of a grace line. So I'm going to use that. I am using an open-toed foot to do my applique. I have found that I did play with the walking foot, didn't find that as helpful as I thought it would be, but did find that being able to see exactly where my stitches were with the open toe foot really helped. I went ahead and changed to black in my bobbin and black in my top. And I'm going to start with a tacking stitch, which means I'm going to go down 3 or 4 stitches when I begin. And then I went ahead and did do a little bit of practice just to make sure that I knew what I was doing. Look at that sweet cat. My next step is to simply lay out all the pieces into place. I am going to start by stitching this row together, this row together, this row together, and then this row together. Then I am going to put these 3 sections together and add my top and my bottom. And now all you have left to do is add a couple borders and the final kitties. I have loved working on this project so much that I've decided I'm going to do a bonus video for you guys. So in just a little bit, I am going to provide a video that shows you how I'm going to quilt this gorgeous quilt on my domestic machine. I really hope that you've enjoyed Penelope's Playground. I sure have enjoyed the design process, the filming process, the sewing process, and all of it. If you've enjoyed these videos, make sure you share them with your friends. I am this close to 1,000 followers and I am so excited. So share with your friends, make sure you subscribe so that you can get my next videos. Make sure you're commenting on all my videos so that I can see your progress and help you along the way if you have questions. I would love to make more videos if you're struggling with a single step. Also, if you have any ideas for me on videos that you'd like to see me do, I would love to help you out. I look forward to seeing you guys really soon. Thanks so much. Bye, everyone.